Hi, my name is Tyler, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the advantages and disadvantages of social media. So we're going to start with some statistics here. According to a Pew Research poll, which was done in July of 2015, about 76% of Americans online use social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, those sorts of sites. And that's up from 26% in 2008, which is more than doubled in less than a decade. And it's also important to note that in 2015, 92% of teens reported belonging to these websites and going online regularly throughout the day. So, social networking is a great tool, and it has formed friendships and has enabled collaboration among many cultures, but there are some consequences and pitfalls that we need to consider and that are associated with social media. So I just want to talk about three main points today that will help kind of illuminate this. The first, it does facilitate political change and brings awareness to human rights. Secondly, social media does bring with it some mental health issues along with some addiction maybe to some of these social sites. And lastly but not least, the epidemic of cyberbullying, and it can harbor those things. So we're going to start today with politics. So social media, we're all aware, is an easy way to rapidly spread awareness regarding anything. You can see any type of news from around the world, and it is spread by seconds to our own phones. And one of the stories that I wanted to share with you today was about Martha Payne. She's a 9-year-old and lives in Scotland. And she has a blog. It's called Never Seconds. And in her blog, she talks about her school lunch and some of the problems that happened with that. So she started blogging about it, and it gained international attention. And eventually, they ended up not only fixing the school lunch program, but several investors got involved and started the Friends of Never Seconds initiative, essentially. And what it does is it's a global initiative that feeds starving children. And so that's just an example also of the pros of social media and how it can draw worldwide attention. And also, according to recent data from the Pew Research Center, and this was in a Washington Post article, more and more people turn to Facebook and Twitter to receive their news. This is less than conventional methods like watching the news and reading the newspaper. And then, in turn, they share that news and commentary with their friends, and who they will probably share it with their friends. And so these are examples if you follow certain sites like Attention, or the acronym ATTN, or .Mike, which kind of is more centered around millennials, but bringing them news. And similar to that last survey, in 2013, the Pew Research survey found that 16% of respondents who had been surveyed had changed their political views according to what they had seen a family member or a friend post on social networking. So it is a really powerful tool as far as influencing our decisions and our beliefs. And according to the Washington Post, Facebook released its own survey and study. And in 2015, it showed that for every 5 friends that you have with similar views, you only have 1 friend with opposing views. So basically, we are naturally drawn to people with similar political views, whether it's subconscious or an active choice. It's very interesting how Facebook kind of found that out. So moving on to mental health, there's an Atlantic Journal article that mentioned, it was written by Stephen Marsh, and the study was conducted with results showing that people who use social media tend to isolate due to feelings of disconnect. So basically, since we are constantly looking through filters and looking at people's status updates, we're not actually engaging in interpersonal communication. And as a result, we tend to isolate, sit on the couch, roll through our news feed, roll through friends' profiles, and we're not engaging. Social media dependence and addiction has also become a big thing, and it affects the psyche and mental health, primarily through personality changes and confidence issues. So that's when we run into things like filters and different ways of presenting ourselves online. And that was per Waqar Hassan of Socionomics. And lastly, people with this lower self-esteem are more active online because, like I said previously, they promote themselves in a way that they're not promoting themselves in real life. So like I said, filters showing the happy times, the good times, but not showing when there's problems in their life. So selfies are a good example, constantly taking selfies and promoting yourself in a certain light. And then also, according to Dr. Pantic in 2012, the Facebook addiction scale was created to gauge addiction levels with Facebook and other electronic platforms. And so lastly, I just want to touch upon cyberbullying. It is a big problem in our country today and in the world. Social media is highly responsible for the spread of hate groups, primarily through racial or homophobic discrimination. However, there are many anti-bullying campaigns out there, which is a good thing. And then people, specifically teenagers, do exhibit signs of Facebook depression, and they are at risk of isolation, suicidal ideation, substance abuse. And that was per Dr. Gwen O'Keefe and Kathleen Clark with a pediatric institute. So basically, I hope that these three main points were able to enlighten you a little bit about social media. It is a boundless tool, and it's an asset with many utilities, but we must be aware of the hidden dangers and consequences associated with such means of communication. Thank you.